Started recording. We have established quorum. We have 11 folks on the council today. We are starting the meeting for May. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. We were just moving into the agenda review. Folks can look in the chat for both of this agenda and last month's agenda, or last month's minutes, excuse me. And our first consent item is the approval of the April meeting minutes. And I would ask for a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Thanks, Kelly. Do I have a second?
I can second.
Okay, great. All those in favor, or like so all those opposed, if there's anyone opposed, please vote now. All right. Looks like seeing no opposition. Kevin, does that suffice to pass the meeting minutes?
Yes, by consensus, the April meeting minutes have been approved.
Great. So we will move on to just some housekeeping, and Rowan is the star of the show for the next little bit. So Rowan, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Katie. The first thing I'd like to do is just acknowledge that we have a new member, Rain Tronosky, who is a Reed student, was able to, we're very fortunate to have Rain joining the council in the seat for a private university student. Rain, would you like to introduce yourself, or would you like me to read the bio you submitted with your nomination form?
Hi, I can introduce myself if it would be preferred. Hi, I'm Rain. I use they, them pronouns. Yeah, I'm a Reed student. I'm a junior. I work as a member of our sexual health and advocacy program on campus, and I also work off campus at the Gateway Center for Domestic and Sexual Violence. And I did know Belle, who I believe just left this seat, or a seat. And it was a really great time working with her at school as well. I'm excited to be here.
We're really glad you're here, so welcome. And I'm seeing a lot of welcomes. Yeah, a lot of welcomes in the chat. Okay. The next thing I'd like to do is just review really quickly the survey, the summary of the pilot that we did for the survey, and share that information with you, and then answer any questions about that. The final version of the survey that you have is the one that was approved by the survey implementation or the survey writing group, which met and reviewed the feedback and made some decisions about accepting the which revisions we would make based on the feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and share screen real quickly. Okay. This document is a survey summary. We had 57 people complete the survey in Qualtrics and 11 in SurveyMonkey. We found that most folks were able to complete the survey in less than 20 minutes, but the range was considerable. In Qualtrics, it was about 14 minutes, and then in SurveyMonkey, it was about 38. We received we had feedback. So those were the people who completed the survey, and then 35 folks gave us feedback. As you can see, there were quite a few students. I was very pleased to see that were able to provide us with feedback. There was a lot of positive feedback on the language that we use. Many folks, one of the comments that we had was that it was the best that someone had seen of this kind of survey. And I really liked the comment. Somebody said it was very mindful and tender. So people really liked that. They felt that we did a pretty good job of explaining things. So the language was clear and easy to understand. The negative comments are exactly what we were expecting. The survey is way too long. We know that. We made it as short as we could. We also had folks comment on the formatting, that there's not enough white space, that the fonts could be more varied. And again, those are technical limitations that we aren't able to address with the versions of the software that we had, unfortunately. A couple of people felt that we were too explicit and we gave too much explanation. But in general, most people were kind of understood that. And then there were a couple of comments about it being fatiguing, impersonal. It felt like it was making a report because of the follow-up questions that we asked about experiences of sexual misconduct. Folks pointed out errors to us, which was really, really, really helpful. We made those corrections. I'm not going to go through all of the suggestions here. These are available, I believe, in the survey writing meeting notes. So these are publicly available, and I'm happy to share them again with anyone if they'd like. We reviewed the comments and made a bunch of different changes to the survey. I'm not going to get into the detail there, but just know that the final version of the survey that you see was changed as a result of the public feedback that we received. Does anyone have any questions about that process or about the changes that we made? Okay. And so I think we have an action item, and Katie, I'm gonna, or Kevin, I'm gonna give that to you. Not
Rowan
sure.
Rain has
Oh,
their
sorry,
Rain?
Rain.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go
Rain.
ahead, Rain.
Sorry, I'm a little new to this
Yeah.
format for video calls. It took me a while to find the raise hand button. I was wondering if there were any feedback points. And again, I don't know if the minutes from last meeting had been published because they hadn't been approved yet. I was wondering if there was anything in the survey that people had mentioned about some sort of especially in what is currently, I believe, question 85. Is there anything in there about people like threatening education or schooling or access to it, like during the domestic or sexual violence that occurred, or the sexual misconduct?
I'm sorry, I'm going to look at question 85 real quick.
It was just something that I saw looking at the survey and was wondering if there were any questions that I guess pertain to survivors or victims' access to education and schooling during the time that they were harmed.
Okay, I see. So in this one, so question 85 is, since you enrolled at school, has someone you were in a relationship with done any of the following things? So this is a question, is that the question, Rain? Okay, so that's a question where we're asking basically about domestic violence. And I think there is not, so I think what you're asking was, oh, they did things that kept me from going to school or work. I think that addresses what you were asking. Is that correct?
Yes, cool.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, all right. Yeah. We tried to be fairly general and specific at the same time, which is a really hard line to straddle. We didn't want to give very specific examples because we didn't want people to feel excluded. So we talked a lot about things, which is why it might feel a little vague.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay.
So we do have an action item next, which is a big one. It is the approval of the 2025 to 2027 climate survey. So that, well, it's linked in the chat, and then it's been on Basecamp as well, Rowan, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to look at it. Probably looked at it in multiple times. But we are going to do a more formal vote for this action item. We'll go through a more of a roll call vote. And I think, well, first we'll take a motion to approve the climate survey in the form that Rowan just submitted in the chat.
I move to approve.
Great. And do I have a second?
I second. This is Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa. So we will now take a roll call vote. And I think either if your camera's on, raise your hand, or don't raise your hand. And if your camera's off, maybe raise your hand virtually, please. And then Kevin, are you going to roll call through the names that are raised?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do roll call. I'm gonna call folks' names just alphabetically by last name, and to contradict Katie a little bit, I would like a verbal Verbal, not a hand raise, but a verbal yes, no, or abstain to the question of approving the sexual misconduct survey as presented.
Okay.
And so, going down, Melanie Burnett,
Yes.
Jenna Cohen,
Yes.
Andrew Eccles,
Yes.
Katie Green,
Yes.
Lena Leclerc,
Yes.
Lisa Logan,
Yes.
Jessica Marshall,
Yes.
Adea Powell,
Yes.
Rudy Ann Rivera Lindstrom,
Yes.
Kelly Strawn,
Yes.
Rain Tronovsky,
Yep.
right? Just making sure, did I miss anybody present today? Not hearing anything. All right. The sexual misconduct survey is approved by the council.
All right. Great. So our next order of business is the implementation guide. And that is Rowan / subcommittee members who want to weigh in on that. Rowan, I think I'll have you kick that off, however.
Okay, thank you. Make sure, yeah, okay. So the implementation, the outreach committee has shifted over to the implementation committee, which is also made up of anybody who wants to join us because the implementation is a really big project. I just want to clarify, I'm having work done on my house right now, and I'm wondering if people are you hearing background noise? Okay, great. Okay, because it sounds like they're cutting my house in half at the moment. So, okay. The implementation guide, we've met a few times to work on it. I think we've met 3 times to work on it. Those discussions have been, if you're a data nerd or a survey nerd, those discussions have been so much fun. There's so much great knowledge in there. It's been really enjoyable and really, really helpful. So where we're at with the implementation guide is I'm finishing up the first draft. I'm going to go ahead and share screen so you can look at it. This is also
so loud today.
Sorry, I'm getting some background noise from someone there. There is a version of this that is available online, and let me go to, I'm going to put the Basecamp link in for the current version. This one I'm editing pretty much in real time, so it's pretty much all, I've always got a copy open and I'm working on it. We are very close to being finished. There's just a few things left, response rates, coding responses, and then the reporting section. So we're really close to being done here. But let me see if I can find it and share it with you just real quick. Okay. Sorry, I must have accidentally closed it. One moment, please. There we go. Okay. All right, so I'm going to show you just kind of where we're at. So if you look at this document, what you'll see is a bunch of hyperlinks at the very beginning. This is the outline or table of contents, I guess. So everything that has a hyperlink has pretty much been completed or is in its last stages. There's a few things that still need to be done. IRB considerations, we've got a couple folks working on things for that. I think Kelly, you were going to do some work on that. And I think also Jimmy Wilson is talking with IRB at UO, and we're hoping to have some information from them. Then going down, so these are basically the different kinds of topics that we're covering. It's a fairly substantial report. There are going to be some appendices. The trauma-informed principles documents that the language subcommittee prepared will be in there. There will be a section on customizing survey questions, so how they should do that and the procedure for doing that. We can consider adding some approved optional questions, and then there'll be a template for them. Belle was working on that, the summary report template. So that's where we're at with that right now. I am expecting to have a completed version available early next week. The implementation committee is meeting again on the 9th of June, and hopefully we'll be able to review the document and make some last minute changes. And then the next steps will be for the council to have an opportunity to review it and then approve it at the June meeting. Any questions about that? Okay, all right. And just to let you, I'm just going to share one more thing. I kind of put this together because I want you, you all have done such amazing work, and we have done this according to everybody else who has done this at the statewide level. We have done this faster than just about anyone, and we're doing a really thorough version. So I'm getting really good feedback from my colleagues in the other states. So we first convened a year ago, and since then established the work groups, drafted the survey, piloted it. You've just approved the survey. So what we've got left, so we can check that one off. What we've got left is to get the guide completed. That's going to go with the survey out to the institutions. They are only going to have a week or two to look at it, but I want to give them an opportunity for some feedback there. You'll have an opportunity to approve the implementation guide. The survey and implementation guide will get distributed out to all of the colleges and universities in September. And then there are some administrative rules that will be written by HEC for that'll be based in large part on the implementation guide. So a lot of the things that are in the implementation guide will be rules that the colleges and universities will have to follow. The implementation guide are recommendations. They don't have to do those things. Putting them into rules format makes them more concrete, something that they have to do. Any questions about that? Okay. If you don't have a link to the, Kevin, can you let me know, is the next implementation meeting on the website yet?
Yes, it is for June 9th.
Okay. All right. And so if you don't have an invitation to that on your calendar, you can either email Kevin, or you can check the HEC website meeting schedule, and you'll find the link to the implementation committee meeting there if you want to be there, if you want to attend that. And on that link as well, when the draft that will be reviewed at that meeting will be posted. Jenna, the list of steps is not on Basecamp. I just wrote it, but so that I'd have that for you today, but I will add that when we're done with this meeting, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Kevin.
I just wanted to add to that really quick that the approval of the implementation guide is planned to be for at our June meeting, so next month.
Okay, anyone else from the subcommittee for implementation want to add anything? Okay, hearing no one. Our next item is to talk about the schedule moving forward. So we have scheduled through 2025 discussion. So my understanding is we'll have a June meeting, and then we will, we're planning not to meet in July. Is that correct, Rowan?
Yes.
But to have our sort of regularly timed meeting in August. And that would fall, would that fall? Third week of August, just before school returns. So would it be the 26th? Is that right, Kevin?
Following our usual pattern, it'd be the fourth Monday. Whichever day that is. I don't have the calendar in front of me.
That would be August 26th.
Okay.
The the point for discussion is what the cadence of meetings will be moving forward after that August 2025 meeting. I think Rowan's suggestion was that we potentially plan to meet quarterly at that point for the large group, which would put us at the next meeting being in December, I believe. I had understood that actually we were going to approve the meeting schedule at the August meeting, Rowan and Kevin, based on our discussion last week. I don't know if I got that wrong. Are we voting on that today, what the cadence of the meetings will be, or did we want to wait until the August meeting to do that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess my understanding was that we voted on this meeting, but we don't have to. We could, well, I mean, I guess we are skipping the July meeting, would be our plan. So I guess we'd want to kind
Right.
of get a consensus on that and then decide at the August meeting, or we could decide now. It's up to the council.
And if I could just make a suggestion, I think if you wanted to vote and approve that we would skip the July meeting, our next meeting would be in August, and then quarterly thereafter, Kevin could send out another poll so that we could make sure that that was still a good day and time, since everyone's schedules are going to be, well, a lot of folks who are in academia will have schedules that are different next year than they were last year. So if you wanted to approve skipping the July meeting and then meeting quarterly beginning in August with a day and time to be determined, I think that might work.
Okay, and just also to be clear, we have a June meeting, so we're not
Yes.
skipping June, we're skipping July.
Yeah.
But so the motion would be to skip the July meeting for today. That's the singular need for the vote, right?
You could also vote on meeting quarterly thereafter or beginning in August if you wanted to, but you
Okay.
don't.
Does anyone have any strong objection to moving to a quarterly cadence versus monthly? Okay. Well, why don't we just do both then today? So I would ask for a motion, both it's a dual vote to skip the July meeting to reconvene in August on a quarterly cadence. Do I have a motion for that?
I have a motion for it to move forward.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Yes.
All right. So all those in favor, please say aye or raise your hand in some capacity. Anyone opposed? Okay. Seeing none there, Kevin.
All right. Yeah. So motion to skip the July meeting and move on to the August meeting after June is approved.
Great. Okay, well, before we adjourn, I guess I'll just to summarize. So our next meeting in June, the big push will be to do a vote on the implementation guide. So be watching your email boxes for that. The implementation guide is ready for you to review in Basecamp, so you can come to the next council meeting ready to have a vote on that. Anything else for the good of the order, Kevin or Rowan, before we adjourn?
Just in case anyone had not heard, I have been approved to continue half-time after June 30th. So I'll be a permanent part-time employee working on the sexual misconduct issues. So yeah, I get to stick around, which makes me happy.
Can I also just jump in and say, since we passed a milestone or a threshold here, that, I mean, I say this almost every meeting, but Rowan and Kevin, thank you. My goodness, I can't believe that we've actually finished the survey, Mike. Holy cow. So that none of this would have been possible without you, obviously. So thank you both very, very, very much.
Thank you.
I think it was collaborative effort, starting with the end in mind, with the survey calendar, what all we needed to, I think within the first meeting, we started talking about groups. We got those groups together real quick and we started moving. So, and then your work, Kevin's work, to keep that moving along, and we achieved something very good, I think, very good.
Mhm. We've had an extraordinary talented council too. The council is also unique among our state partners in the diversity of experience and voices that we have here. So we've been really fortunate.
Oh,
Congratulations, Rowan. Very well deserved. And thank you very much for all that you've done. Thank you, Kevin. And you guys have a good rest of your week and good luck. Bye-bye.
all right. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Take care.